So how easy is it to become a South Dakota resident?
Hi, I'm Dwight.
And I'm Connie.
And together we're
Beck's
Backroads.
We travel the back roads and trails to find the unique, the beautiful, and the sights that not everyone gets to see.
Come join us on our next Backroads adventure. We've got big news. Drum roll, please.
That's right. It's been just 47 days and we've hit 100 subscribers. We want to thank you guys for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed already, now's a great time to do it. Hey, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell to be notified of when we upload our next video. And thanks for being part of the Beck's Backroads family.
Thank you. Thanks for watching.
So we left Wyoming and we made our way into South Dakota. And my gosh, what a change in scenery. It's been quite the change on our trip to get here. And now let's figure out what we've got to do to become South Dakota residents. So before we talk about what it was like to become South Dakota residents, let's talk about what the whole domicile process is like for RVers. Domicile is simply becoming a resident of another state. And there's typically two reasons why you want to domicile. Number one, taxes. You want to find some place that doesn't have personal income tax and is cheaper with the fees that you've got to pay for things like registration of your vehicles. And then the other reason is, how easy is it to become a resident of another state? So that's what we're going to talk about. Now, there's 3 states that are typically considered good domicile states. That would be Florida, Texas, and South Dakota. Now, some people consider Montana, but just to lower their fees. They will file a LLC in Montana to start a quasi-business, register all their vehicles there so they can pay the lower Montana fee rate for their vehicles. However, that does not avoid their state income tax if they live in a state that still charges income tax at the end of the year for your earnings. So the first state that we're going to talk about is Florida, and why we decided not to choose Florida to domicile in.
It was literally too far away from family and friends.
So if you live on the East Coast and want to domicile there, one of the rules that they have is you have to live in Florida 183 days a year. How they track that, I don't know, but that is one of their requirements. The other thing that they need to do is you need to basically file a certificate and have it, a domicile certificate, and have it notarized at a county clerk. You have to get a driver's license. You have to get your vehicles registered. And that's pretty much about it for the state of Florida. Now, but what the cost is for registering your vehicles for the first time, it's about $475. Now, $475 is compared to what we would pay for a Jeep and an RV. So that kind of gives you an idea. And some of the documents that you're going to need there, you're going to need a birth certificate, and you're going to need to show them a Social Security card as well. So they want to know that you're a resident of the U.S. So that's Florida. So the next state is Texas.
And why wouldn't we go to Texas? It's the middle of the country, and you have a really good friend there that we can stay with and see more often.
Yes, we do. But the primary reason at the time that we were considering the domicile is they had a requirement that every year you had to get your vehicle inspected. And I did not want to be held to having to go to Texas every year to get my vehicle inspection. Now, since that time, they have done away with that requirement. So it does make Texas a little bit more appealing to reside there if you want to domicile in Texas. So Texas is very similar to Florida, except you don't have the residency that you have to come back 183 days to do that. You do need to prove your citizenship to the United States or have a valid driver's license from another state. Other than that, the requirements are all just about the same. Now, if we were going to register our vehicles there, the registration in Texas would be $592. So less than $100 difference, or maybe a little bit more than $100 difference from Florida. So not a real, not a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination. So Texas, if knowing what we know now, we may have considered Texas a little bit more than South Dakota. So one of the other issues about becoming a Texas resident is that you have to have two proofs of residency, like a utility bill, a lease, or they do have an option where if you're living with family, that you can get a document signed, so it shows that you're actually living in Texas. So that brings us to South Dakota. And why did we decide to choose South Dakota?
Because it's close to North Dakota, and that's where my mom grew up.
Well, that may have been one reason, but the real reason is it by far is the easiest state to become a citizen of.
And it also has really cool landscape.
Yeah. And it has cool things to do up there,
it does.
too.
Very cool things to do.
Yeah. So,
like Mount Rushmore.
That's right, Mount Rushmore. Custer State Park, one of our favorite places.
One of our favorite places.
Yeah. So what does it really take to become a resident of the state of South Dakota? Well, it's actually pretty easy. The first thing you need to do is get a mailing address, and that can be a P.O. box. The other thing that you need to do is you just need to spend one night. Show proof. It could be at a hotel. It could be anywhere. Show proof. Then you just need to go get your driver's license. You need to get your vehicle registered. And guess what? You are a South Dakota resident. So let's talk about the vehicle registration fee. So Connie knows much more about the fees than I do. And how much does it cost to register our vehicles in South Dakota?
It cost about $544 last year to register both the motorhome and the Jeep. And in California, the Jeep alone was over $500.
Well, and that's a good point. There's another thing to talk about, trying to register your vehicle in California, which is where we retired from. If we would have stayed there, not only would the Jeep fee have been very, very expensive, but it's doubtful we could have even gotten the RV registered there. They have a rule now, they're cracking down on diesel vehicles, and a diesel that is over 20 years old, it really, really is difficult, and we may not have even been able to register it in California. So leaving California for another state that's easy to domicile in was a key factor in our decision with buying a motorhome that was over 20 years old there.
So you're probably thinking, do I need to figure this out on my own, or are there services that can help you? And yes, there are services that can help you.
So Escapees can help you domicile in all three of those states, except there is a little bit of a quirk when it comes to South Dakota. In South Dakota, they would require you to have two P.O. boxes, one in South Dakota to get all South Dakota mail, and then the other one would be in Texas, where Escapees has an office where you would get all the rest of your mail. But they can help you in Florida, Texas, and if you don't mind the two P.O. boxes, they can also help you in South Dakota. So what did we do? We actually found a place in South Dakota called the South Dakota Residency Center, and they are located in Spearfish. And the unique thing about them is they are also affiliated with the KOA in Spearfish. So you can go spend your one night in the KOA Spearfish, fulfill your residency requirements, then they can help you fill out all the rest of the paperwork that you need and send you on your way to get your license. So let's talk about what it was like to get a license and do that process in South Dakota. But first, what was it like in California for comparison?
Well, one year recently, I forgot to renew my driver's license by the date to renew it, and they would not let me just send in the payment. So I had to go wait, and I did get an appointment, but it still took me 3 hours to renew my driver's license.
And here's the thing about getting an appointment in California. If you think you're going to get an appointment next week in a location that's near you, think again. Sometimes it takes 6 weeks or more to get an appointment that's close to you. And if, like Connie, if you need to get an appointment right away, you may be traveling way out of your area, maybe up to 100 miles to find a location that actually has an appointment when you need to go. So what did we have to do to actually get our driver's license and our vehicles registered in South Dakota? Well, we were in Spearfish, and we went in and talked to the residency center. So after talking to the residency center, they told us that we had to go to Belfouche, which is about 15 miles from Spearfish. And why did we have to go there, Connie?
Because the traveling DMV was in that town today.
Traveling DMV?
The traveling DMV, yes.
So for smaller cities in South Dakota, and because South Dakota is so spread out, the DMV comes to you. You just need to know which day it's going to come to you. And how did that process go?
It was super easy. Fill out the form, take your information, and within 30 minutes, both Dwight and I walked out with our real ID in hand.
Real ID in hand. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Actually, when I talked to the lady at the residency center, she said, well, you go to Belfouche, get your driver's license, and then you go down to Deadwood to get your vehicle license. And I looked at her and, with a big city,
mindset.
Mindset, yeah. I said, can you get all that done in a day? And she laughed. She said, oh, yeah, that's no problem. So we got our real ID and we were off to Deadwood. So Deadwood is kind of an interesting place. How would you describe that, Connie?
It's an old West town with that old West feel, and it still feels you're going back in time.
Yeah, the one big challenge with Deadwood, particularly down Main Street, is it's kind of been taken over by bars and casinos. But there's still a lot of history there in Deadwood and kind of a fun place to go.
Well, they still have shootout reenactments, in the afternoon, I think. So
yeah,
that was kind of fun. We did see that when we visited there.
And whose grave did we see? Buffalo Bill Cody's?
Was it Buffalo Bill or Wyatt Earp?
No, it wasn't Wyatt Earp. I think it was Buffalo Wild.
Was it Buffalo Bill?
Buffalo Bill, I think.
Was he the one that was with Calamity Jane? Boy, we don't know our history, do we?
No, we're not good with that. But we did go see it.
We did go see his grave.
Yeah, we did.
And Calamity Jane. I know it was Calamity Jane.
Yeah. Yeah, she was definitely there. We just don't know who the guy she was with. Anyhow,
what does this have to do with registering our vehicles, Dwight Becker?
Yeah, fun quinky-dink fact. Anyhow, so how did the registration process go?
And that was really pretty easy too.
Never before in my life have I ever paid fees and walked out with plates.
Yeah.
So we were both pretty amazed.
Yep.
So we've been very happy that we've did our domicile in South Dakota. So actually the whole domicile process for us in South Dakota and going into Belfouche actually has a lot to do with our next video. So make sure you tune in and catch that video to see how Belfouche played into our plans last summer.
See you next time. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. It's you. You start this.
By what? By saying what? We've got good news?
How can I go over this stuff and 2 minutes later it's like just frickin' gone? I went over the script.
Because it just does. Yeah, basically. Okay.
You know what? I'm going to be really, when I have the deathbed confession or whatever it is that I have on my deathbed, it's going to go, well, what do you say? I don't remember.
I don't. That's the sad part.
So one of the other requirements in Texas that did make it kind of tough.
Start that over. I was making a silly face. Start that over.
So this is going to be more. I'm going to have more in bloopers than I am the regular thing. Okay, let's go.
The bloopers will be more fun than this whole thing, but people want to know about this.
Are you ready? No.
No.
This is why your dad got mad around the dinner table.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.